Wait till you hear from our next speaker. This young person is a climate activist, a hip-hop artist, and youth director of Earth Guardians. He's on the front lines of a global youth-led environmental movement. About 3 years ago, he received the US Community Service Award from President Obama. I'm looking at him right now to see if he smiles when I say that. But he might smile at this. In an encouraging sign that he cannot be bought so easily, and is still speaking truth to power, he is now the lead plaintiff in a lawsuit against the Obama administration for their failure to protect the atmosphere for the young people's future. Please help me in welcoming to the podium Xiuhtezcatl Roske-Martinez.
All right. You guys hear me okay? I'll try to do this right the first time. Well, hey everybody, you guys look beautiful. You guys are very quiet. It's all good though. My name is Xiuhtezcatl Roske-Martinez. I'm 16. And I've been on the front lines of a movement for a long time. When I was 6 years old, I first got engaged in speaking and using my voice to address what I believe to be one of the greatest issues of our time. And there is such powerful influences in my family that have allowed me to be here today. I'm a representative for my generation, our voices. I'm a frontlines climate warrior. I'm a representative for indigenous voices. It's an honor to be here today. And I want to thank everybody who's spoken before me. It gives me hope. And it reminds me of why there's no better time to be born, no better time to be alive than now. And for about the last 10 years of my life, I've been on the front lines of the climate movement, struggling to use my voice in a system that is failing to address climate change, in a political system that is failing to hear the voices of young people, women, children, and men all over the world who are suffering because of our climate crisis. And everything that I've done and everything that I've accomplished in my life has been to help people understand the urgency of the climate crisis. It's a misconception that climate change is just about the environment. Climate change is about our human rights. Climate change is about politics. It's about education. It's about the survival of our generation and future generations to come. Every single issue that we face today and every single issue that we strive to address with the Sustainable Development Goals is connected to our climate. It is one of the biggest man-made crises we've ever seen on the planet. And for me, as a frontlines climate warrior, I've seen a lot of amazing action come from my generation, where young people are beginning to use their voice and are no longer afraid to use their passion, to fight for what they believe in, to stand for justice, to stand for sustainability, to use their voice, to begin to call out the world leaders and remind them of whose world this is. Because sure, we're a future generation, but we're here now. We are here now, we're not going to wait to take action. So in the last 10 years of my involvement in this movement, I've seen a lot of action on the front lines, and I'd like to think that I've been doing my part. And just in the last couple years, it's been incredibly inspiring to see the United Nations and see our world leaders actually take steps forward towards creating justice in our world, to draft these Sustainable Development Goals and actually take steps towards achieving them. And I'm here to remind you that the business sector has been impacting the way that the world works for generations. I mean, if you look at even before the Industrial Revolution, the private sector is very, very powerful and influences the world. And there is no better time than now to join hands with our governments and our leaders, the United Nations, the frontlines movements of climate, environmental and social justice activism, and the business leaders all over the world that have immense amounts of power to help do their part to shape the world that we are going to pass on to future generations. And there's a lot of disconnection that is creating a lot of these problems that we're talking about. We're disconnected from the earth. That's why we blindly destroy it. We're disconnected from one another. That's why there's hatred and racism and war. We're disconnected from ourselves, and we have to begin to understand that once we separate the illusion, once we get rid of the illusion of separation, we can come together and understand how it is time for all people to join hands and be a part of a movement. This is the greatest opportunity of our time, because crisis is a driver of evolution. And this is our next opportunity to evolve as a species on this planet. And what I've seen is we can't only rely on our leaders. We're looking to them, we are hoping that they will do enough, but at the same time, the business sector, the frontlines warriors all over the world that are fighting for justice are at the front lines of this movement and are ready to take things forward so that my generation can inherit a sustainable planet. Because as I said, it isn't just about the environment, it isn't just about politics, it's about the survival of our generation, of your children and your grandchildren, of future generations and generations unborn. What we need now and what we have the opportunity to create is a revolution that allows industry, business, and profit to happen in balance with the planet, so that business leaders, entrepreneurs, and young people of my generation can come out into the world and begin to share our ideas and create change and build movements that can be passed on to the future generations. We are building a legacy. We are here today because we are building a legacy that will be left to the next generation. And when you look your grandchildren in the eyes and they'll ask you what kind of legacy you've left them, you want to be proud of that. And the weight can not only rest on my shoulders and on the shoulders of my generation, but there's no time better than now to connect with every other generation on the planet, with our politicians, our leaders, and the business sector to create change, create justice, and fight for equality and for sustainability for our generation and those to follow. The Sustainable Development Goals are something that we are reaching for. So join me and help us reach towards these goals so that we can be proud of the planet that we pass on to the next generation. Thank you.